Hi, the Mudbrooker here. I was invited to join a collaboration video by Leanne Herleen about what I would can again and what things I wouldn't can in the future. Now, I actually made this video about 2 weeks ago. Got a little bit busy with other things, didn't get around to editing it until last night, and it turns out the file was hopelessly corrupted. So here I am at the very last minute, the day that everything was supposed to be posted, trying to recreate my video, and hopefully I'll manage to remember everything I said the first time around and get things fairly right. But anyway, the point of this video is things that I would can and wouldn't can again. Now, I've been canning for quite a while, so I've pretty much weeded out things that I wouldn't can again, but there are a couple of them, and there's quite a few things that I will can again. You want to can the things that you're going to use the most, things that you like, things that you're going to be using on a day-to-day basis, because there's really no point in having a shelf full of stuff that you're never going to use because you just don't like it, or it's simply something that you're not going to use. The two things that I would have to say, she asked for 5, but I can really only think of 2 right now. The 2 things I can say that I won't can again are, there they are, sweet potatoes is one of them. It's not that I don't like sweet potatoes, or it's that I don't like the way they turned out. It's just that I don't really use a lot of them. A couple of years ago, I got a big bag of sweet potatoes for next to nothing. I used some of them, I canned the rest of them, and I still got sweet potatoes left because I just don't really use them all that much. They turned out nice, they taste good, but they're taking up more space on my shelf than I really need them to be taking up, and it's something that I just don't use a whole lot of. The other thing I won't can again is pie filling. Again, it turned out well, it worked the way it was supposed to, but I prefer the results I get when I thicken up the fruit right before I make a pie. It's just a matter of preference, really. And it also gives me more flexibility to just can the fruit and thicken it up when I make a pie, because then I still have fruit that I can use for something else that isn't thickened. If I want to make, say, blueberry pancakes or something, I can open a jar of blueberries and I have blueberries for pancakes rather than only being able to use them for pie filling. That pretty much wraps up things that I wouldn't can again. Now, things I'm definitely going to can again. First is hot beef. I don't have any jars of it right now, I ran out. But hot beef is real easy to make. I have a video of it on my channel if you search for Wisconsin style hot beef. All you do is take a big cut of meat, trim it up good, a whole round, a whole chuck, whatever's cheap, whatever you can find. Trim it up, cut it into maybe 2-inch cubes, brown it good, you don't have to cook it all the way through. Then you throw that in a big electric roaster and you cook it all day long until it falls apart, and then you can it up. A good dose of pepper in there, that's where you get the hot beef from. It should have a little bit of a peppery taste to it. And it's really good, it's really easy to make, and it's really easy to use. You just take out a couple jars, heat it up, and you make sandwiches out of it. You can use it for other things too if you want to be creative, but basically it's a sandwich meat. So I've got to make some of that again once I can find a deal on some cheap beef, which ain't really easy these days. Something I also use quite a bit of is sauerkraut. I just canned up a load of sauerkraut a couple of weeks ago, and I usually do that 2 or 3, maybe 4 times a year. I'll make a batch of sauerkraut and can it up because I like sauerkraut. Peaches is another thing. Around here in northern Wisconsin, you cannot get decent peaches in a store. The only time the peaches you get usually for eating are nasty, stringy, pithy things that got almost no flavor to them. They look great, they don't get bruised easy like a ripe peach will, but the damn things are just about inedible, really. The only time you can get decent peaches is in the summertime when they have lugs of canning peaches. They're good for eating and they're great for canning. Something I've noticed though, normally they say, I don't know if you can see any of them, that little red bit around the pit of the peach, they say to trim that off because over time that'll turn brown. It's harmless, it's just, it just turns brown, goes from red to brown. But I've never really had that happen. You know, usually, like these ones here, hopefully you can see that, it just kind of fades out and it doesn't turn brown. So, whether it's something different I'm doing or just a breed of peach that I'm using, I've never had that problem. And it's not really a problem, it's just a matter of appearance. Something else I can pretty much every year is honey. Now, you don't need to can honey to preserve it. Honey lasts forever all on its own. And some people say that by canning it and heating it, you break down beneficial enzymes and all that. I don't really care. I'm not using this for medicinal purposes. I'm using this for food. And there's a big beekeeper around here, and you know, I know some people that every now and then a 5-gallon bucket of honey will fall off the truck, and I can get a hold of it. And it's a lot easier if you break it down into smaller jars. I usually put it in half pints because they're 1 cup apiece, and it makes it easier for measuring. But can it up into smaller jars, keeps it nice and sealed. And if you can the honey, it doesn't crystallize nearly as fast. I do set some aside, just raw honey, because I like crystallized honey. So I usually set a couple of pints aside and let them slowly crystallize in the cupboard. But most of it I can up, and it keeps it nice and liquid for a lot longer, and it's a lot more convenient size. The other thing that I'm definitely going to can again is Blackberry Jelly, because I have wild blackberries around here that grow, and it makes just fantastic jelly. And one thing that makes making jelly a lot easier, I'm going to cover the lens here so you don't get seasick when I spin the camera around. Let me see if I got it in frame. Adjust a little bit there. One thing that makes making jelly a lot easier is one of these. This is actually an antique made by Wagner. It's a fruit press. They call it a fruit and lard press, but there's a lot of different tabletop type of fruit presses out there. This one's a little bit different. Rather than the screw going up and down and pressing on a foot, which presses your jelly, with this the screw is fixed, and it's actually the handle that pushes down on the stomper part. I'll take it apart a little bit here quick so you can see. This is kind of neat because it's got a little latch on the handle, and the handle just folds and comes off. Set that aside. Inside you have a big foot that presses up and down. That's what actually presses your fruit. Set him aside. There's an inner basket which has holes in it. Then there's an outer basket, and that comes off so you can clean everything nice and neat. And there you can see the base of it. This, like I said, the screw is mounted permanently, and that's the base of it. It's got a spout where your juice runs out. Mounted on the edge of the cupboard like this, I might have to make a little extension for that to get it out so it goes into a bucket easier. But this has actually got a couple of notches in the spout so that you could hang a bucket off of there and catch your juice as it comes out. All you need to do is you put this together, put your inner and outer baskets in, and when I make jelly, I'll usually put everything into jelly bags, tie them up good, drop the bags into the press, put the stomper on, and then press it out good. When you press the fruit, it seems to get a lot thicker juice. I think it squeezes a lot more of the pectin out, and you get a lot better set on your jellies. Put that back on there. It's upside down. And when you press something in a press like this, you also want to take your time. You know, when you first tighten it down good, you'll get a lot of juice, but let it set for a little bit before you tighten it down more so that it has time for the juice to actually get out of the fruit. And you just kind of press it in stages, give it a good squeeze, let it set, give it a good squeeze, and you get a lot better results. But anyway, yeah, if you can get something like this, they still make, not necessarily this one, but they still make tabletop fruit presses for making wine and things like that, and for making jelly, and they work really good. So I highly recommend getting one of them if you're going to be making a lot of jellies. Anyway, that's my video. Hopefully I'll get this edited and posted. I'm going to get it today, but hopefully things won't go horribly awry again, and I'll actually get this video up and not look like a fool for taking on a project that I couldn't finish. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll put a link in the description of everybody else who's part of the collaboration. There'll be a playlist there. Go and check those out, see what you like, subscribe to them because they're all nice people, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.